Okay, I am testing the improved motor. Its speed has been set, I don't know if you can see that there, to 78. I had to adjust that needle a little bit. And I've cranked it up and spun it down 4 or 5 times. No more thumping and clunking and bumping. No more of that. We're good. The springs were actually pretty nice in this one. No issues whatsoever. They are Victor originals and they had plenty of fight left in them. So they can be left alone. It's all been cleaned out and repacked. And sure enough, what somebody did was simply force some fresh grease on top of the old crud. And you really can't do that. The old grease is not going to rehydrate. Not really. It's all clumped up. It's got probably centuries worth of dust that got in there mixed in with it or whatever. You really do have to pull the springs and clean it out. See how nice and smooth that drum is turning now? Before it was kind of jerky and boop, boop, boop. Well, you didn't see that. I did, though. It was all jerky and sticking and thumping. That's what causes the thump and bump when it suddenly releases, because the spring inside has a lot of crud on it that is holding it back. And when it winds down, it'll suddenly just release and spin out until it catches up, and that's your thump and bump and all of that, rumbles and other things. Not how a Victrola motor is supposed to function, or any gramophone motor for that matter. And you can see, this is why I keep stuff like this around, just for this sort of thing, because I obviously do not have the machine here with me. But I do have this old cabinet that somebody heavily modified for something that at one time or another did contain a Victrola 9 motor and motorboard and all that. See how nice it fits? So it fits on the hinges. But we're looking good here. There were no other surprises. I didn't find any bent gears, bad teeth, issues with the governor. Now, this motor had been worked on in the past, definitely, 100%. Obviously, there was modern grease was on there that could have been put on last year, last month, last week, or 15 years ago. Who knows? Because modern grease tends to resist drying out a little bit better than the stuff we had in the old days. And it was applied just over the old dirty stuff, so that really wasn't getting the job done. Somebody rebuilt the governor. They put new governor springs on it. I don't like the new springs too much. These ones appear to be working. I don't know where they were supplied from, but I have found sometimes with the replacement springs, they're too weak. I remember one time I actually had to double them up, costing me twice as much to rebuild the governor just to get it to function so, it wouldn't be flopping around too much. And this one seems to be okay. It's working. It's been there for a while, obviously. The gentleman who owns this was playing it, despite the thumps and bumps, so it will suffice. But if I can get away with using originals, if the originals are really nice shape, unfortunately that's rare, I will reuse them whenever possible, but not here. This has already been done by somebody else. You can always tell when someone's been into these things in modern times. There's going to be buggered screw heads. Sure enough, found 3 or 4. Sometimes the lock nuts that are right here are missing. See how there's 2? That's how they used to secure a nut back in the old days before they had lock washers. They would use 2 of the same nuts, one tightened down on top of the other to keep it from moving, keep it from working its way out. Let's see, what else did I find? Somebody shortened the ring, the clip that's on there, right in there, that's holding the barrel lid on. Very common. I find that all the time. It's not a big deal. It's not going anywhere. It's still doing its job. It just was a little easier to get back in for me and for whoever originally did it. I believe those clips were put on with hydraulic pressure back in the day, so sometimes you simply may not be able to get it back on. I generally do. Even if it takes an hour of fooling around, I'd like to get them on there. But in this case, I can't do anything about it because somebody's been there before me, so be it. It's been done already. See how smooth that is? No thumping and bumping, no weird noises, just a little rumble of a Victrola motor, the normal kind. And did I mention I did have to reset that needle, the one that's under the glassine window for the speed control. I hate working with those things. I really do. They're a pain in the neck. But that's what this has, so I don't have any choice. So it's not like I haven't done it 10,000 times before. There's a tiny little nut on there, And if you're not careful and lose it, there's a big deal. So it's not like I can source one of those at the local hardware store. A watchmaker store maybe, but that's about it. There's no issues whatsoever. We're working good. See if I can you see the needle there? Let me see. Let me get up and take a look. It's a teeny bit off, but you know what? That's okay. I'm not worried about it. That's as close as it's going to get. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. It is working and the speed is set. I can't show you how I set the speed because that involves the use of the smartphone that I'm currently using to film with. There's a special app. You open the app, you put it on the turntable, and somehow, through some magic that is beyond my understanding, it figures out the speed and it tells you what the RPM is. You can micro set that if you want to, much closer than you will with a stroboscope. But not that that's that important, but still. That's how you do it. I do have a stroboscope disc somewhere, but when you're working outdoors like I am today, I can't use the power of the sun to set it. The sun does not work in 60 cycles, so I can't use that. Has to be under an incandescent light bulb to work properly. All right, I'm going to let this wind down, then I will pack it up, and I will move on to the next one, the unimproved motor. This is the improved motor. The unimproved motor, well, the original, not the original motor, but the... what are we going to call it? The teens motor. We'll call it that. The one with the 2 individual spring barrels, the teens motor, because that is where they used it, in the teens.